Have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie. We have vital information we would like to share with you. The Department of Indian Works St. Paul partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on testing sites, isolation space, vaccines, housing assistance, and food resources. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19 or has questions to determine if you should get tested, please call them at 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986. That's 651-304-9986.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy, but with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Partly cloudy overnight with a low of 65, then sunny on Wednesday with a high of 88. Eat Local Minnesota restaurants are perfect for your next outing, whether it's date night, family night, business, or an afternoon get-together with friends. Check out all the varied and wonderful Eat Local Minnesota restaurants at eatlocalminnesota.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hitting cut again.
Because all the hippies are trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakunjahade, Distant Thunder. My colonized name is Robert Pilot. We discuss Native and social issues here, but as you all know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
This portion of the show was brought to you by the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. Call them at 651-304-9986. They're open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. for your COVID-19 questions.
Did you like my FM voice? No, you hate when I do that. Hey, so tonight after the show, we got another show. We got a show after the show. Ogama will probably talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Also, it's a good day to be indigenous.
And happy anniversary.
Yes, I was hoping you'd say that. 20 beautiful years together.
20 years.
I was a young man when I met you. Well, here's to 20 more, hopefully. Yeah.
We could do 20 more, can't we?
I think so. If I keep walking.
Yeah,
80.
we could do 20 more years.
Yeah.
I don't know about past that, but yeah, 20 more years would be good.
Well, now you're starting to talk about that movie, Harold and Maude. You know what she did when she turned 80.
I love that movie, by the way.
Trouble, oh, trouble, can't you see? Oh, never mind. That's my favorite song. Hey, I'm a little rusty here, but I know Ogama has a lot of news going on, and there's a lot of, I want to say, things happening up in the deep north. Why don't we get to her right away? Welcome, Ogama, and this is Ogama with the news, where you will not hear anywhere else on Turtle Island except right here.
Hi, Bujuani and everybody. I'm Ogama Ganuakwe. News is kind of an understatement, but first things first, I want to say happy anniversary to Robert and Wendy Pilot. Congratulations on 20 years. That's very exciting, and I'm happy for you both. So, moving on Monday, in northern Minnesota, Hubbard County Sheriff's deputies barricaded access to an encampment of water protectors who are resisting the construction of the Enbridge Line 3 tar sands pipeline. Officers towed several of the activist cars and made several arrests throughout the day Monday, and throughout the day today as well. An attorney for the Indigenous-led protesters called the move nothing short of an overt political blockade. If you are in the area, water protectors are calling for support. The police have blockaded the entrance to, mind you, this is private property. It's a Big Buck Drive is what it's called. It's just south of Park Rapids in Minnesota. They're told that if they leave the private land, they have no right to re-entry of their own vehicles, and they've denied food and water delivery. Basically, what's happening is, like, if you have not yet gone onto GNU Collective's page and checked out the live feed from this, like, it is just mind-blowing. There's just a wall of Hubbard County Sheriff's deputies standing there for the most part. And then occasionally they're arresting people, and the letter that they gave the camp was just very, very vague. It was about 4 sentences, and it said something about them supposedly not having an easement, but it's private property. So I'm really not sure what Hubbard County thinks they're doing up there. And I know that Patrick and them were talking about, police reform with the Minnesota Reformer giving updates on the legislature right now. I mean, if there's ever a time in Minnesota where we need police reform, these types of situations are exactly why. I cannot for any reason imagine why police would need to barricade private property. I mean, have you two ever heard of any of that?
No, nothing surprises me when it comes to Indigenous and Brown people's rights.
Was Standing Rock private property? That was also private. Well, didn't somebody just own that land right there that we were camping out on?
Not the camp we were on, but across the way where they started out in the Sacred Stone Camp. That was private property.
So it's happening. Yes.
Yep, it's happening here. So if you are not in the area, or if you're not able to get up there, they are asking, the water protectors are asking that you call Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan at 651-201-3400. If you go to GNU Collective's page, they have a lovely little script there that you can read. I've probably already called a couple of times today. Like, I'm just kind of mind blown right now as to what's really happening up there. In other news on what's happening, the Indigenous Environmental Network is actually on Capitol Hill today and yesterday for the End Fossil Fuel Subsidies rally. They've got frontliners from Alaska, Stop Line 3, and the Colonial Border Wall, people fighting the border wall on the southern border of the United States there to represent. You can go to Indigenous Environmental Network and follow their live feeds on that as well. Some other breaking news related to climate justice. Climate justice protesters are currently occupying an Enbridge U.S. regional office in Waltham, Massachusetts. They are expecting more than 15 arrests. So I previously reported on the Enbridge off-gassing device. I don't even know what to call it. But in Weymouth, Massachusetts, Enbridge has a natural gas compression plant. And the Weymouth compressor has 4 times now in the past year released massive amounts of this toxic gas into the atmosphere. So nonviolent climate justice protesters are in solidarity with the indigenous water protectors who are trying to stop the Line 3 tar sands oil pipeline. And they have taken over and occupied an Enbridge office near Boston, Massachusetts, demanding that the Hubbard County Sheriff's Department immediately cease its dangerous blockade and that the Hubbard County Sheriff's Department release all water protectors arrested so far, and to halt the Line 3 project and the construction and drilling underneath the headwaters of the Mississippi River. They say the Line 3 project alone will result in more carbon emissions than the entire Minnesota economy, and they are not wrong. It is absolutely amazing that we have some solidarity over there on the East Coast. So solidarity and love to you in Massachusetts over there for occupying that. I know that they're doing Dance the Line Away in Fargo, and they do the Dancing for the Water in Park Rapids, Minnesota, outside the Enbridge office. So I'm hoping maybe I can try to squeak up there one of these weeks and go dance for the water up there, because there is an Enbridge office in Park Rapids, Minnesota, right near where these water protectors are being barricaded in. And I don't think that that's an accident, is it?
Well, they have like Honor the Earth has Taco Tuesday up there and dances up there. Is that right?
Salsa.
Yeah.
Salsa
Tuesday. Thank you. Salsa Tuesdays for the water in Park Rapids. Yep. And that actually starts at 6 p.m. So that it's actually probably happening right now. So solidarity to them as well. I do want to bring up an event that's happening this weekend, July 2nd through 5th, is the Protect the Shell River Paddle and 4th of July Parade at the Shell City Campgrounds. Basically, they're on the edge of the Huntersville State Forest in authorized 1855 treaty territory and educational site, and there is a city campground and horse campgrounds on site. They're inviting people to come and visit and stay at the Rough Camp and to take part in several 2 to 3 hour paddles from the Shell City Campground landings and or the Shell City Bridge to the Crow River Tree Farm Public Landing in Wadena County. The events will happen Saturday, July 3rd and 4th with the paddles. So that'll be really exciting this weekend. I also wanted to touch base just really briefly that statements from Mary Kunish and Winona LaDuke came out on the 2 Enbridge Line 3 subcontractors who were arrested in an anti-human trafficking operation in Bemidji this weekend. Mary Kunish basically said that they were told it would happen, that women had testified and warned the public and the Minnesota Public Utilities Commission that this was going to happen. And Winona LaDuke basically said these men are an aberration and the arrests have been long predicted and they will probably not be the last. And I think that they are both right.
Yeah, absolutely. They are both right. Ogama, thank you so much, Pinigigi, for that much needed information and excellent job. You know, we have today is Tuesday, so we're going to have Nancy Bolio, Bemidji Rise in MN 350 Bemidji on today, and she's going to fill us in, and we're going to have her on 2 segments. So, hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and we're going to be right back after this short break.
Stay with us. We have vital information we would like to share with you. The Department of Indian Works St. Paul partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on testing sites, isolation space, vaccines, housing assistance, and food resources. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19 or has questions to determine if you should get tested, please call them at 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986. That's 651-304-9986.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex, recording sexual acts without permission, hurting someone because of their sexual orientation, raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger, purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Ade.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. Call them at 651-304-9986. They're open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. for your COVID-19 questions.
Hey, before we get to our guests, Ogama, I'm wondering if you could chime in and just talk about what's going to happen at 7 o'clock real quick. Like I said, the show after the show. Do you mind doing that?
Sure, I don't mind that at all. So tonight, after Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, Native Roots Radio is hosting an event, an online event for people, and it is Keeping the Circle Strong. We Can Do This Indian Country. It's for the Great Lakes region. It is a conversation with local medical people, elected. I'd have to double check the list for who we have tonight, but it's a conversation surrounding COVID-19 in Indian country tonight. It's going to be really awesome. I'm pretty excited. We've got Deanna Standing Cloud on tonight to talk about how it is to deal in the time of COVID-19 as a parent.
Right. And then we also have Dr. Stately on too, who we have on Mondays, who's awesome as heck. And that'll be hosted. We're supporting that. That's going to be hosted by David Knoyer, and he does a great job. And he's always been my idol. So that's awesome. So, hey, we have from up in the deep occupied north, Nancy Bolio Bemidji at 350 and co-founder of Rise Coalition. Welcome to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, Nancy.
Bonjour. Yes, it's always good to be here, Robert. And so sorry I had missed the show last week, but we were holding some much needed space at the Minnesota Tribal Executive Committee, and we had brought in the concern of the rubber stamped 404 water permit for Enbridge's Line 3. And, what was so alarming about that was the DNR, Enbridge, knew about this back in November, but yet lied their way in with the initial 404 water permit stating they needed, about 5 million gallons of water. And then just surprisingly, out of nowhere, we need 5 billion more gallons of water during the drought. And so we felt, after we had occupied the easement out towards the Mississippi River here in northern Minnesota, just witnessing the water level drop before our eyes in 8 days, that, we got to do something more to protect this water. And so we attended the TEC meeting, the Tribal Executive Committee in Boys Fort, and gave some testimony. And, for the first time in a long time, I felt like our tribally elected officials here in northern Minnesota, excluding Red Lake, were really hearing our concerns. And they all voted to write a letter to the Walz administration asking for a suspension on the 404 water permit until they were consulted the tribes. And we know, they didn't ask our permission to heist our water, Robert. And so it's really alarming during a drought that the ecologist for the Minnesota DNR would say everything's going to be okay, and we don't feel it's going to be okay. So
Nancy,
I do know, speaking with Alan Roy from the Writers Nation today, he is the Secretary-Treasurer, the Walz administration has ignored that letter.
Well, Nancy, what happens to this 5 billion gallons of water when it's used
It
as
is actually displaced. So it's once they're done with it, we won't see it again. So it's just out there. It's going to be poisoned by their chemicals they use. And so we feel, during the drought, what's really another alarm here, I should say, was the DNR just maybe 5 days ago had issued a statement of the fish die-off in northern Minnesota, or in Minnesota, I should say, due to our lakes warming 9 times faster than the oceans due to climate change. And so we have the fish struggling. We've seen and heard about the clams struggling, and we've seen how Enbridge sucked the water out of one of the lakes in Monoman. I forget the name of the lake, but people caught on to that. The community did, and they called out Enbridge for that. And then Enbridge has moved further east to withdraw their water. And we just talked about this last night in camp about we got to go find out where they went. It's kind of alarming because nowhere in Minnesota, I don't think it's hardly raining, Robert, and they're talking about severe drought on the radio today.
Absolutely.
They're just taking the water without our ask, and you know what most people don't understand, especially our non-Native Americans, is that we never surrendered our water property rights. So we have say in our water, and without water, we don't have our fruit that grows on the water. Our fish is poisoned, and our way of life is at risk here. So, we had a meeting with Amy Klobuchar's staffers 2 weeks ago today, just the day after we came out of camp. And basically I told them if the state of Minnesota, its agencies, and the sheriff departments want to continue to support Enbridge, I think this is another act of genocide, and that we need to sue the state and the other bodies that are responsible for what we've been seeing, especially in the last couple of weeks.
Well, we need to call out our so-called relatives that we've supported, and I failed to mention that we used to co-host a show called Rock the Vote Native Style, and it's the sound is deafening. We cannot hear our politicians speaking on our behalf, even though they come for our votes.
Right. We had this conversation at Minnesota 350 because, again, we're getting ready for our endorsements here just next month, July. And so, I raised my little hand and spoke of my, being hurt by our politicians. It's like we worked so hard for them, Robert. We did symposiums. We did, the webinars. We did text banking, door knocking. We did whatever it took for these people to win their campaigns. And, again, it's our voice, not just a vote. And we would hope, especially with like-minded candidates and our relatives running for office, that we would have more people, more of these elected officials speaking out for us. And again, we're defending ourselves, and it's always been that way, Robert. So, yes, it would be nice, especially locals here in Beltrami County, because Line 3 is in our backyards. And nobody wants to talk about it. No one wants to step out of their comfort zones. And it's like, how do we make those changes if we don't realize the urgency here, and that Enbridge wants 5 billion more gallons of water, and there's so many violations to our treaties? You would think that these elected politicians that said, hey, I want to be your voice, be that voice. So, we decided yesterday that we're going to call on our endorsements and see where they're at on Line 3 and what they can do to help amplify our concerns. Because, Robert, we can't keep doing this. It's work that we commit to, work that we believe in, and these are people that we believe in when we work so hard for them, Robert, and then they run off. And we see that with Waltz. He used our sister Peggy Flanagan. He tokenized her to get our vote, and silence there too.
Yeah. Hey, we have we spoke earlier on the show about GNU Collective up there and how they're being railroaded. Have you heard anything new today?
No, actually, I haven't, Robert. I'm actually kind of at home doing some administrative work and trying to keep up around the house because, again, starting Thursday, we will be out again asserting our treaty rights. And so I'm trying to, decompress? Yeah, it's been busy. Our sister Dawn in the Monoman Protector Camp on White Earth has some, her mother just passed on today. And so it brings much sadness to our camp, and we have to find ways to support our sister. And it's just, we somehow still have to continue to move on and support our sister at the same time. So I've been kind of holding space for her while she was with her mother. And we know, there's going to be more time that she's going to need for her mourning. And we want to make sure we take care of her in a good way too, and continue with our resistance. So I've been in camp on a daily, and today's the day I just need to catch up with the garden and the little things Nancy needs to do in order to feel good about being back out there again. So I knew as of last night there were 8 arrests and cars towed away, but just to hear them with this tactic of theirs is crazy. Another problem that we're having too is tribal monitors at these wetland drill crossings, and the law states there should be a tribal monitor there. And Red Lake gave that position to Sasha Bolio, who leads the Red Lake Treaty Camp, and she'll be taking her training this week. And there's an agreement between Enbridge and Red Lake to make that happen, but the work still continues without a tribal monitor in the meantime, and they just egregiously violate rules, and the police don't seem to mind to provide private security to a foreign private company and put our culture at risk. And Minnesota has $18 billion in tourism that depends on clean water, Robert, and I don't just understand how our business owners and our governor says, hey, let's take care of Minnesotans first.
Yeah, well, we've been occupied all here in this whole state with ads of how great neighbors and sunshine and sunflowers and things like that. So we really, it's a hard nut to crack because people are thinking that these people are awesome, that it's a replacement project. Nancy, do you have time for another segment?
Oh, I'll be here, Robert.
Okay, well, why don't we take a short break and let's talk we're talking to Nancy Bolio of Bemidji 350, and Wendy, totally excited and to get what's going on up there.
Nancy is boots on the ground, and she's there, and she knows everything that's going on. So,
it's the real deal. And so we're going to have to talk to her and see how she takes care of herself. I know she could have a cooking show. We see what she cooks, but we're going to talk some more Enbridge and what's happening up in the deep north. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back. Hey, Wendy, what are we doing for dinner after the show?
How about we go to J. Selby's on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul? They have a delicious plant-based menu that's compassionate and environmentally sustainable.
I'm getting their spot-on vegan Big Mac, the dirty secret.
You can pick up and they deliver within a 5-mile radius, or you can call them at 651-222-3263 or visit jselbys.com.
Well, you sold me, Wen. Let's go order at J. Selby's tonight.
I'm hungry.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
We have vital information we would like to share with you. The Department of Indian Work St. Paul partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on testing sites, isolation space, vaccines, housing assistance, and food resources. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19 or has questions to determine if you should get tested, please call them at 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986. That's 651-304-9986.
Hi, I'm Alicia Luther-Toms, certified financial planner with RBC Wealth Management. You might think you have to give up performance to invest responsibly, but that simply isn't true. Responsible investing can actually have a positive impact on performance. We will work with you to come up with a strategy that matches your values. This is Alicia Luther Toms at 612-770-4460 or alicia.luther.toms@rbc.com.
RBC Wealth Management, a division of RBC Capital Markets, LLC, member NYSE, FINRA, SIPC.
COVID-19 vaccines are safe, effective, free, and approved for everyone over the age of 12. Getting vaccinated is the most powerful tool to keep ourselves and loved ones healthy and to end this pandemic. Get your vaccine and get back to what matters most to you. To learn more about scheduling a free appointment, visit ramseycounty.us/COVID vaccine. Again, that website to schedule your free COVID-19 vaccine is ramseycounty.us/COVID vaccine.
This is Santita Jackson, Minneapolis, St. Paul. I couldn't be more excited about starting our days together, Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 a.m. Central, on the Progressive Voice of Minnesota.
If you're hurting in your relationship or have been affected by sexual violence, you're not alone. Strong Hearts Native Helpline can help you through these difficult and uncertain times. Strong Hearts Helpline is a free 24/7 confidential domestic dating and sexual violence helpline for Native Americans. Help is available by calling 1-844-762-8483 or by clicking on the Chat Now icon on strongheartshelpline.org. This message is sponsored by the National Indigenous Women's Resource Center.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Partly cloudy overnight with a low of 65, then sunny on Wednesday with a high of 88. Eat Local Minnesota restaurants are perfect for your next outing, whether it's date night, family night, business, or an afternoon get-together with friends. Check out all the varied and wonderful Eat Local Minnesota restaurants at eatlocalminnesota.com.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by MN350, a grassroots organization fighting for climate justice.
I always want a haul. I don't know why, but a haul
that's the next one.
Good. Hey, just a quick thing. We got a show after the show happening, and we'll be on Facebook Live. Wendy, and do you have any information on that?
Well, it's a national campaign, and it's called We Can Do This, Indian Country. It's a COVID-19 vaccination campaign. They're going to have a lot of qualified health professionals answering lots of COVID-19 questions, so tune in.
And I know Ogama was saying that she's excited to see Deanna on, and I know her as one of the first female powwow wranglers, not wranglers, MCs. I shouldn't say wranglers, MCs, and that's a trend that's brand new, and it's great to see her. And she's got kids, and she's got a very young one, so it'll be interesting to hear.
Yeah, it starts 7 Central Time.
Yeah, right after Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. Also, we have Nancy Boley of Bemidji 350, boots on the ground up there, and co-founder of Rise Coalition. Welcome back, Nancy.
Yes, and it's always a pleasure to come back. And I just, really wanted to share. There was a meeting last Friday in White Earth, and White Earth Tribal Nation is, strongly opposing Line 3, especially with this 404 water permit. So there was a meeting set up with a DNR commissioner, I forget her name, but the state of Minnesota, and the White Earth Tribal Nation, and I was lucky enough to get an invite to attend, and it was really disheartening. And what we found out was that, again, Enbridge and the DNR knew about the 5 billion gallons of water back in November and failed to state that they were going to use that water. And in the meantime, Walsh gave the green light against the tribes, regardless of the water permit or not. I mean, he just blatantly, shoved that pipeline down our throat. But, speaking with the DNR, White Earth made a good stand. The chairman, basically said, this is another act of genocide. And it is, Robert, because they're taking our water and they don't know if it's going to be okay. The ecologist for the DNR states, well, things will go back to normal. But how do we guarantee that? I mean, looking here in northern Minnesota at the forecasted weather, we'll be lucky if we get rain next Tuesday. That's a whole week away, and in the meantime, everything's turning brown. But what was really shocking was that the DNR commissioner stated that there was no leadership talks or agreements or decisions, nothing. It was basically some staffer to staffer that decided to handle this 404 permit without consulting the leadership of the tribes, and basically it was a done did deal. And the commissioner for Minnesota, or for the DNR, says, yeah, we admit we could have done better. Sorry that we didn't. Maybe next time. And even after the chairman, Mr. Fairbanks, noted that, taking this water, it's genocide, it didn't even seem to faze her. And it was so disheartening to hear that they were unwilling to suspend the 404 until they consulted with the tribes per Governor Walz's Executive Order 1924. So we've been making a call to the Walz administration under their own executive order, the government to government, and then seeing how the DNR is also handling the matter. Seems like the Walz administration, the agencies, and the sheriff's department don't want to follow the law. They're circumventing it and committing genocide. And I think, somewhere down the way that I think we have to say, you know what, we need to file a lawsuit against the state of Minnesota, because everything we've done, everything that we were supposed to do is not working. And here we are, instead of out picking berries, well, there's no rain anyways, but, we'd like to do things other than go protect the water. But we have to sacrifice, some of us, in order to do the things they ask us to do, and then it doesn't work, and then we have to go put our boots on the ground and hold space in a camp. And if these agencies just understood that there's a treaty obligation, respected them and upheld them, we wouldn't be having these conversations, or maybe we'd be out fishing today. Robert?
Hey, Nancy, Al Jazeera obtained some data that said over 788 workers building Enbridge's Line 3 through the U.S. and Minnesota have tested positive for COVID-19. So this is like the workers' sex camps and all these things. These are like are the blankets they're handing us now, Enbridge and the government of Minnesota.
Right. I would totally agree with that. Again, we have voiced our concerns, did what we were supposed to do. And like Ogama mentioned earlier, they were warned of these man camps, but yet they ignored it. And then the Walz administration blatantly had a MMIW proclamation. It's like, those are empty words, and they don't serve us any good. They're actually insulting to, us as people, because we do matter. Brown lives do matter, and we see so many good things happening on all kinds of different fronts. But yet again, it seems like the Native people are forgotten in this Line 3 resistance or any other matters. It's like we don't matter anymore, and they could kill our food that grows on the water and poison our fish. And, don't worry about it. Somehow you guys will be okay. We have a sovereign right to make our own decisions, to protect our water, and to assert our rights. So when we were at the Firelight camp, a lot of people thought it was a no Line 3 camp. We were there protesting Line 3. In honesty, we were out there on a treaty camp, and we were upholding our inherent responsibilities to protect the water, which is protected by the treaties. And we called on our non-Native allies to come and learn what treaties are, what our relationship is, what our shared history is, and how we got here today in this mess of fossil fuels, and how, as treaty partners, we can defend the water and take care of each other in a good way, because treaties intended for us to be in peace and to leave the earth in a better way. So we're going to continue to assert those rights and build on, solidarity with our non-Native allies and some of our relatives across Turtle Island, and we're excited about that.
Hey, Nancy, give everybody the website, how we can, people all over Turtle Island can keep an eye on what's going on, what you're doing. And then I really want to say Peeny Gigi for this stopping in and letting us all know what's happening up in the northern Minnesota, where a foreign company is decimating our land and our water up in Minnesota.
Right. You can, well, there's so many different places you can find the information and so many different ways you can help out. And I just want people to know there are so many different ways that are non-arrestable that you can show support if you can't get your boots on the ground. Money does help. We always spend it in a good way. And I just want people to follow Rise Coalition on Facebook, GNU Collective, Camp McGizzy, and the Welcome Water Center there in Palisade, and we also have the Red Lake Treaty Camp. And we are calling out for boots on the ground, so please inbox the camps, figure out which camp is best for you, because we take different actions. And just know that, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be down at the Army Corps making some good noise, and we'll probably be at the Capitol. Good trouble is always good music to our ears, because I think we have shown them in a really good way that we're going to continue to show up, and we're going to be resilient, and we're going to be here to take care of each other in Mother Earth.
Wow, Peeny Gigi for being on, and we'll see you next week, or if not sooner, if there's things happening, we're definitely going to give you a call. Peeny Gigi for being on. Nancy Bolio, the Minty 350.
Big witch for having me, and you all take care.
Oh, that's good. Nancy Bolio there, Wendy and Ogama. Disheartening news, right, Ogama?
It's absolutely heartbreaking every time I go up there, every time I talk to everybody. And I just want to take a moment to raise up Nancy for a minute here and give condolences to Dawn Goodwin for the loss of her mother.
Mm-hmm.
I've known Dawn for a long time, and my heart is with you and your family in this time, Dawn. And just to drop the line here, if you're looking for like a good one-stop shop place to kind of get an idea of everything that's going on and what all the different camps are, stopline3.org is a really good kind of all-encompassing website for you to check out to get connected to those various camps that Nancy was talking about.
Lewis, are you able to speak really quickly on treaties? People don't understand what treaties are and what to Native Americans.
Sure. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you hear me?
Might be muted.
I think he just has a headphones on, and he's kidding around.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there you go. Now we can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me. Okay, yeah. So, this is breaking the 1855 treaty that the United States is holding right now, and those are active treaties. For those that don't understand treaties, Section 6, Clause 2 of the Constitution states that treaties are the supreme law of the land. And in the mid-90s, it was also affirmed that these treaty rights are still existing with our northern relatives, and also having consultations with us indigenous people on the environmental impact is a constitutional treaty right that we hold. So we're not asking for something that's outside of jurisdictional lines, of outside of legalities. We are asking to assert our legal rights onto these lands and make sure that we have sustainable water for the next 7 generations.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much. Hey, Wendy, Wendy's going to take over the show because Wendy and Lewis will be on, and Wendy likes the fact that she's taken over the show. So Lewis, keep an eye on it for me and help her out when you can.
Hey, I've been getting used to hosting this show. You've been busy with your new legislative duties. So I appreciate you trusting me with your show.
Yeah, definitely. Happy anniversary.
So right after my show, I'm going to be talking about fireworks again for the 4th of July coming up, and animals and people and everybody who's affected by them, and even our environment. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, definitely.
And then as soon as I'm done, just hop on to We Can Do This Indian Country COVID-19 vaccination campaign. It's a national campaign. If you're on the fence about getting vaccinated, or somebody who's a little bit nervous about it, this symposium that's going to be on at 7 p.m. will answer all your questions. So please tune in.
Wow, great words, Wendy. And I know your sacred animal section is very popular, and it's been on for 4 years. And, we've been on 5 days now, 120 some shows. So that's a lot. I'm still can't
It's a lot
pronounce
of
people's
talking.
names.
That's
too.
okay. We all have
Thank
trouble
you.
with words. I have a list of them that I don't. I just don't say them. I stay
that's
away
a good
from
idea.
them.
All right, you're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and up next, Wendy with her Sacred Animal section along with Lewis. We'll be right back.
Stay with us. Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Life is a journey, and the Doherty Family College will help you get where you want to go. Located downtown Minneapolis, this affordable 2-year college provides free textbooks, a laptop, meals, career coaches, one-on-one mentorship, and a Metro Transit pass, making DFC the perfect pathway to a bachelor's degree. Turn your dreams into reality. Connect with a counselor today at dfc.stthomas.edu.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centric news is not easy, but with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Over the past year and more, we've all missed out on a lot. Family time, graduations, weddings. And missing those events, we've missed out on even more. Friendships, connections, community, belonging. That's a long time to miss things this important. So don't miss on getting the COVID-19 vaccine. Vaccines are now available throughout Hennepin County to anyone over the age of 16. Just visit takecarehennepin.org and sign up to get yours. That's takecarehennepin.org.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
We are elusive.
Hi, and welcome back to Native Roots Radio. I'm Awake. I'm finishing up the show for Robert today. He had to jump on the symposium, which I hope that everybody will tune into. It's called We Can Do This, Indian Country. It's a COVID-19 vaccine campaign. It's a national campaign. They're going to have lots of qualified health professionals on. So tune in. Right after I'm finished, just get on over there. This portion of the show is brought to you by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations. Woo! Thank you, Lewis, for joining in with that howl. I always love some company doing that because, otherwise I feel like kind of a fool. But
it's okay.
Well, let's see. Today is the 29th, and we're going to be having 4th of July in just a few days here. And every year I kind of bring up this subject about the 4th of July and how it impacts not only animals and the environment, but people who have PTSD and things like that. So I just wanted to talk about it. I found a couple of websites. I'm going to be talking, going through the list of things that you could do to help your pets during this time. Some of the things are the same, some are a little bit different. So we'll kind of compare what happens here. But animal control officers across the country report a 30% increase in lost pets each year between July 4th and the 6th. And July 5th is one of the busiest days of the year for shelters. So the lost pets are found and they are brought to the shelters. I'm going to be jumping around here a little bit here before I get to those websites, but stress from fireworks can add to and potentially trigger new health issues for your animal and also exacerbate pre-existing health conditions. Our dog, a few years back, Mickey, he was an older dog. He developed heart failure, and he did pretty well for a long time with the health taking medications for his heart failure. But something like that, fireworks, being really scared and stressful, could really cause that condition to be a lot worse for him and cause him to have a lot of problems. Another website reported that about 45% of dogs have firework phobia. Now, all the dogs that I've known in my life from a small child, I would have to say that 100% of them had firework phobia. So I have not ever known a dog, unless the dog is stone deaf, not have a problem with fireworks. I'm going to be talking about the people who are in the military, people who have PTSD, and how these fireworks really cause them so much stress and bring up a lot of bad memories for them, and things that we just really need to be considerate of people who have problems with this. It's really a hard time for them. And you know what? We have to remember that what goes up must come down, and we have to talk about the environment and the problems that it causes in the environment. Air pollution, really bad air pollution in just a short amount of time. The fireworks leave metal particles on the ground, dangerous toxins, harmful chemicals, and smoke in the air that lingers for hours and sometimes days. Wildlife, not only our dogs and cats and people and the environment, but our wildlife, they get really scared. They hear these noises, and they run away, and they leave their young. Right. So deer who have, their animals, bunnies, just leave. They leave. They get disoriented from the noise. They get scared, and they can't find their way back to their young. And many baby animals die during this time too. There's a report also that there's certain birds that literally get scared to death. So they literally, from these noise and these bangs, they literally just die. They drop dead. And we really have to be careful right now. Again, I'm going to go back to the environment. It's been so dry throughout the United States, and the heat wave and, droughts, that we have a potential for lots of fires here. So I'm sure out in the West, where it's been tremendously dry, hopefully they'll have a ban on fireworks this year, because we don't want to cause any problems with that. Also, there is a town in the province of Parma, Italy. It's called Collecchio, and that town has adopted silent fireworks, and that's what they do there. They have silent fireworks because they do really understand about the problems with the environment, animals, people, wildlife. So they put music to the fireworks, and you could tune in on your radio. But here's it's called Maxi Dog, and it's a firework checklist for your dogs. But I think this also goes for cats or any other animal that lives in your house, that you should just really prepare a secure place for them. Doors and windows secure, locked. Draw the curtains. Contact number on their collar. Make sure they're up to date. Keep their collar on. A lot of people, when the dogs come in the house, they take their leash and their collars off, but leave that on with their tags. Put on some distracting noise, like a radio or a TV. Make sure the dog has their favorite toy. Give them a treat. Also, during the day, or during the day before the fireworks, get them exercised. Get them out there and walking and exercise, and feed them well in advance. So when this happens, they're not vomiting or having problems like that. Make sure they have plenty of fresh water. Keep them calm. Here's one here. Ignore their fearful behavior. And I know I've heard this 100 times, that you shouldn't comfort a dog who is having a problem. But here we go. My little dog's having a problem right now. But I tend to over comfort, but I'm bad about that. Here's the other website, and it might be some of the same stuff, but let's see if there's something different. Yep, keep your pets secure inside. Even dogs in fenced-in yards find a way to escape. They get so scared they just bolt. Give them a safe place to hide. Set up a comfortable room and a crate. Make sure it's cool and comfortable. Use ambient noises. We already said that. And make sure that their IDs and their microchips are up to date. and skip the celebration and stay home with them, right? I've done that in the past too. Keep them busy, make sure they have their toys and things like that. We want to do that. Yeah, let's see what else we have here. Yep, we talked about the birds that sometimes just, die from the sound. Fireworks disorient them, so they lose their nests, and fledglings to die of starvation also. So that's what happens with the birds. Let's see here. Result in, and injuries. Like so many, every year we hear of people just having injuries. Now, I'm not going to lie, years ago, before I learned all this information, we went to the fireworks, we went to Stillwater, we were there for hours, as long as, partying with noise and fireworks, and I really enjoyed it. But now that I've learned more about the detrimental effects of fireworks, I kind of just boycott them. We don't celebrate with fireworks anymore, just because of the detrimental effects, and we don't want it to hurt the environment and people and animals and our wildlife. The other thing here that I found out too is that many and most fireworks are use child labor in the production of these fireworks. So that's another reason just to stay away. So happy 4th of July, everyone. I'll be talking about this again. If you have any questions, let me know. I could look up some stuff, some information about more if I missed anything. I'm sure I did. There's so much information about fireworks and the environment. But I'm going to close the show tonight. I would like to end with these thoughts. If you have been listening to this show, you are the resistance. We need to resist, divest, join a group, and run for office. You've been listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm Awake. I would like to thank Ogama for the news and events, Lewis for being behind the scenes, and Nancy Bolio. We are the 7th generation. Free Leonard Peltier. Stop line 3. And please get vaccinated.
Located just north of 50th in France, the Great Wall Restaurant has provided a delicious taste of authentic Chinese cuisine since 1981. Specializing in Szechuan and Peking dishes, they offer one of the most extensive menus in the Twin Cities. Favorites include hot and sour soup, pan-fried dumplings, and mushu pork with homemade Chinese pancakes. Stop by their Edina location or call for takeout at 952-927-4439. See the full menu at greatwallrestaurant.us.
Hi, everyone. AM 950 is grateful to the listeners who stepped up in the last year and helped support the radio station by becoming members. As we move forward, it's still important to help support small businesses like AM 950. We have memberships at any financial level, either a one-time donation or a recurring one, and we appreciate any support. We've already featured a